Could it be that these are maybe less hot? If you don't wear chaps and you want to have protection and you don't want to spend the money for these and you want something a little bit better than these, this might be an option. Let's go ahead and compare them. One of these things is more like the other. Needs chaps every so often. That you want as much protection as possible around your legs. Fibrous material inside that jams up the sprocket on a chainsaw. These are less expensive. Listen, it's time to get you some chaps. Hey, my name is Joe, and if you're new to the channel, I'm the Okie Woodsman. We work together as a family to manage our property homestead. We built our home in the past, and another thing that's on our heart is to be able to help those in our surrounding community. To bless those that might need a little bit of help with some tree work, that might just be simply too overwhelming for them or out of their skill set and equipment set. I want to make a different video today. You see behind me a couple pairs of chaps. These are my original Foresters. They have served me well. I've never tested them. I have never needed to test them, thankfully. And I have my Husqvarna Technicals. I've also not needed to test these. I have used these the most out of these two here. These get worn by another family member when they're working with me most often. But I've also been contemplating putting these on when it's real hot, because I found myself not wanting to wear these because they were so darn hot because of the way that they wrap around your leg. Very protective. You can tell there's protective material all the way throughout here. And so what happens is you get to protect even like the inside of your calf and around down here, down low, which is very important. And so that's why I spend the most time in these, because you wear chaps to protect yourself. Now, I did just do some cutting. You might notice I have some saw chips on my pants. I probably should have had some chaps on. I am guilty, like probably many of you are, of cutting with a chainsaw without chaps on, and I need to do better at that. I have a new pair of chaps that I want to look at today. These were sent to me along with my little top handle. So they're branded PROYAMA, just like that top handle. Let's take a look. I find that these are interesting because of their price point, and I will include links inside of the description. If you don't wear chaps and you want to have protection and you don't want to spend the money for these and you want something a little bit better than these, this might be an option. Let's go ahead and compare them. There's also an extra little bonus here on this as well. I have not worn these. I have not tested them. I don't know if they will perform as well as these Foresters or these Husqvarna ones. However, you'll be able to see when I open these up that there is protective material inside. Let's take a look here. You know, when you're working around chainsaws, you just can't help but get grease and oil and saw chips on you. So right here, I have taken a peek inside of these and I folded them up best as I could into the package. Will I use this package? Probably will not. After these have been used, I'm not going to shove these back into here. The reason being is I sweat in them profusely. And so I'm not going to go ahead and bundle them all up and do that. And this is the deal. What I do is I hang mine up in my shed. I hang them up, let them air dry. And also, to me, I feel like, you know, out here in Oklahoma, we got brown recluses, okay? I feel like my chaps being bundled up somewhere is just a place for a recluse to hide. And so I just like hanging them, much like you see right here. Let's go ahead and give these things an opening here. Like I said, there was a couple surprises in these that I actually did not know about. And this is how they come. Comes with the chaps, the bags, a couple of the smaller size felling wedges. I don't see anything wrong with these. All right, they are not branded. They just simply are nameless. Okay, so we've got a couple felling wedges. And this right here, I have mixed feelings about it. I have had some extremely poor, inexpensive files. As you can tell, this is a file bag. I have not yet put these on anything yet, so I can't speak to whether or not these files are any good, okay? However, you do have a raker gauge, you have a file guide, you have a device to measure files and also measure pitches of chain, a flat file, and a wooden handle. To be honest with you, what I am most excited about in this entire kit, and I want to make a case here, whether these files are good, you have one of each size, small, medium, and large, 3/8 chain, 325, and the smaller chains that you see, like the 3/8 low profile, stuff like that, okay? They feel sharp. These look better than the files that you'd get with an inexpensive saw, for example. So they look better. Again, though, I can't speak to whether or not these files are fantastic files. But I'm excited about the case because my files have always been a wreck because they're just not easy to store. I like this little fold case. This is going to be pretty cool. And then, of course, I will always take another handle. I would prefer, honestly, seeing no lacquer on it. Now, that's not a big deal. With enough use, that's going to probably come right off. But I just like bare wood because they just get oily anyway, and it's the nature of the beast. I think, personally, that I would prefer not seeing lacquer, but I don't like lacquer on axe handles or anything. But again, I have another handle, and I can always use another handle, especially because I've been flat filing with no handle. So this might just go on one. I'm not going to shove that on there right now, but this may end up being the handle for my flat file. I don't know, but I'll give this flat file here. This is not a review on this bag at all, or the contents of the bag, but I am going to say that I am excited about the bag. If you know me, you know I don't use file guides. It has a file guide in there. That might be something worth a darn. This type of raker gauge I've actually never used. I have one, but I've never tried it. And then I'm also kind of curious about this. I believe this is to scrape out your bar groove. This is actually kind of cool because I've been using flathead screwdrivers, but I found something out recently that my flathead screwdrivers don't work well for my 050 gauge bars that I've been buying. So this might serve a purpose there as well. But I will tell you this, the bag, I think that's a win because I'm going to make use of that. For sure. I have a bunch of new files that I don't want to just throw in my bag and have them bouncing around. Don't want to throw them where they're going to get rusty and messed up. The main bit of this show is the Chaps. See this bag? All right, the Chaps. They might look a little familiar to you. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and hang these up right by the other ones. Let's go ahead and check out the PROYAMAs here. Compared to, well, let's just put it this way. One of these things is more like the other. Guys, I can't speak to the safety of these because I haven't ever tested any chainsaw chaps. Some of you may know more about this, but it says leg protection for chainsaw users in accordance with ASTM. It says they're Class B. They say that they're UL certified. These are available on Amazon. I will post links to them in the description. So you can tell that these are on a blatant duplicate of these Husqvarna Technicals. Am I gonna criticize them for copying what I think is one of the best ones out there? Absolutely not. They look very similar, but I can tell you right now, the looks and the features are about where the similarities end. Now, everything that I state here isn't a knock on it, okay? Because you have to keep in mind, these are less expensive than these. These, I believe, are more expensive than these. However, this did come with the other tidbits like the felling wedges and the files. But this has protection from here to here. What's cool on these is if you look at the Husqvarna ones here, you can feel it and you can see, you know, the protection goes here and then it goes straight across right here and it's sewn in. And it's got these piping around the edges and it's got this liner on the inside. This liner has nothing to do with protection, it's just to make it nicer. One of the things that PROYAMA has done in manufacturing these is they do not have that liner. So you get to see exactly where the protection is. So again, one of these things is like the other, but it's not exactly the other, right? On here, what's cool about this, to be honest with you, this actually, I said it goes straight across here, but as I feel it, it is cut at like a 90 degree right here. It does feel like it's cut at a 90 degree. This one is sewn up and in, okay? So when you look at these, this will wrap around your calf. I have put these on myself. They did fit. My wife put them on. My wife's actually probably gonna be utilizing these. And I gotta be bluntly honest with you, another difference here is the weight of the canvas. The canvas on these is much thicker. Okay, so if you're gonna be using these like constantly and you're gonna be in a rough situation, these are gonna hold up longer, no doubt. Okay, they just are. They've also got double stitching where these have single stitching. I have a single stitch here, double stitch here, but we have similar features, right? We got Velcro right here to empty out the chips. This one's got, oh, look at that, I need to empty out my chips. Anyway, so you can see that how that works. That works pretty good, okay? So we'll go ahead and snap that back up and we'll Velcro that one back up. Guys, is that a negative? I don't know, I don't think so. You can feel the weight of the canvas though. This is very thick and this is thicker than like a windbreaker, but definitely not as thick as this. Will these hold up as well around a fire or hot coals? No, probably not. But you can tell this has that stringy, fibrous material inside that jams up the sprocket on a chainsaw. So if you are the kind of person that needs chaps every so often, that you want as much protection as possible around your legs, these are less expensive than these. They come with a little bit more stuff. But here's the interesting thing to me, is that because the material's lighter weight on the outside and it doesn't have that extra liner on the inside, could it be that these are maybe less hot? What do you think? These have a thicker canvas as well, and they also have that liner. When I feel the chainsaw protective layer, these feel pretty comparable. They all feel pretty similar, I think. And keep in mind, I've also worn these, and so the fibers have room. They may have kind of fluffed up a little bit. These have been flat packed inside of a bag. You've also got the same sort of tag here, bag. I keep a tuning screwdriver in here on mine, but I could definitely drop a tuning screwdriver in here or in here. So I like to use that pouch. I don't really use the other pouches. You could throw some wedges in them, so forth, stuff like that. Now, when it comes down to these deals here, they're sewn on, double stitched on. This has a sew and a sew. This has just one thicker seam here. These are lighter weight than this, for sure. Definitely lighter weight. But as you can tell, very, very similar. You have reflective material here, reflective material there, similar coloring. These ones say PROYAMA, where these ones say Husqvarna. I'm telling you right now, these are much lighter weight. These here are nice and thin up here. Again, in the summertime, guys, I know some of you may be questioning, well, are they as good as these? I don't know. I'm not gonna take a chainsaw to them and try them on my leg. And those tests where people do them on a log, that's really limited as well, because in my opinion, that's not exactly accurate. You know, Indiana Doug, he clipped his, and that was much different. Every accident's gonna be different. And I would assume that these are gonna function. I would assume that these are gonna function. Again, these are also made overseas in the same land that these are, okay? These are lighter weight, but guys, I'm thinking here, but the protection part feels the same. I'm thinking this. If these are cooler in the summertime, you might be seeing Okie Woodsman PROYAMA-ing it on the Chaps. Also, the sizes are clearly marked. To be honest with you, to find the right size on this is way easier than on here. They have a nice chart that tells you what everything means. These do not. This is like a mystery, and you almost have to, I did have to read the reviews on Amazon. Thankfully, I got the smallest size, and I think they're still a little too long. These ones, I got the small size, and they are, they feel about right for me. They actually might fit me a little bit better than these. The links are gonna be in the description. I can't tell you exactly where the price is gonna be because prices change all the time on Amazon. There's coupons, there's not coupons. Inflation, you know how this works. Sometimes manufacturers put things on sale, sometimes they raise the prices, but I will tell you this, these are less expensive, and I think they might be cooler in the summertime. If you're looking for another pair of Chaps, or if you just don't have any Chaps, and if you are a user, a casual user with a small electric saw, and you've been warned, hey, or let's say you've cut yourself. Guys, let's say you've cut yourself, you scared yourself, right? You got a close call, you hit your shin, right? Listen, it's time to get you some Chaps. And if you don't have any wedges, you know, just the wedges and the Chaps, in my opinion, are going to be usable. I'm going to use that case for sure on the files. I'm going to use the case. In all honesty, I did not pay for these things. I'm just seeing the negatives, the positives. When it's all said and done, these are the most expensive. These are probably the most durable. These have really similar features and looks, a little bit lighter materials, but again, on the chainsaw protection area, it feels 95% the same. It really does. Just without the extra liners, a little bit extra, little less thread around the edges. These right here are heavy like these, but they are just simply not as protective. Your calves are not protected equally. And I find that these also bind up weird. I like the extra straps that these have on them. So this is an okay setup. It's certainly, again, better than nothing. But I love these Chaps, and this is a good simulation of these. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time, as always. And like I said, I was just bucking that firewood. I probably should have thrown some Chaps on. And now I have no excuse. I have 3 pairs. I have 3 pairs. And I need more because my boys are going to be learning, right? I need more. And they're getting older, and my wife's going to be cutting. So really right here with 3, if myself and 2 boys, as they grow up, I have enough Chaps for the 3 of us men to be able to cut. That's pretty cool. Again, thank you for being here. I'll see you on the next one. If you're new here, consider liking and subscribing. We're a growing channel, and we have exciting things coming. Have a good one. I have not been abusive to these, and that seam has failed. But that's the cool thing about a double seam, right? This one's still there. So this is not completely shredding apart. This one here, if a seam fails, you're gonna have a failure. However, do I care? I don't ever even put anything in there. The only thing that's ever in there is saw chips. What do you think? Will they be as safe as the Husqvarna ones? I think they're worth checking into for the price, especially if you wear nothing. Assuredly, they're better than nothing. This just has extra material. This looks nicer, but I don't care what it looks like on the inside. I certainly don't care what it looks like on the inside. They both have the same sort of clasps right here. This one does as well. Do you also know why these do this? I really couldn't tell you. I honestly don't have a clue why Chaps do this. They all fold over. Guys, can you share with me? I always clip them over, but I don't know what in the heck for. Can you help out a woodsman here? Anyway, there's those, and then here's the good old Forester ones. Links in the description on these as well. If these fill up with anything, good luck. There's no way of getting that out. But again, it's got a flap on the top. As you can see, I don't put anything in there either. I do put a tuning screwdriver in there sometimes as well. These have seen the fire a little bit. Look at that. This is also heat-related damage right here. Heat-related damage right there. Gotta wait for the truck. Gotta wait for the truck. They always come by right when I want to start.